What's up, guys, and welcome to the 6th episode of Holy Toledo, brought to you by On the Screws. Today is July 31st of 2020. I'm your host, Turner Givens, and with me, my co-host, he's back, Drew Messiker.
What up, guys? Good to be back.
Honestly, it really hasn't been that long. We've been off for 2 days.
2 days. Seems like a while, though.
I did a solo recap, but really it's only really been a day since the Dodgers and Astros finished up that series. But now they're moving on to LA Angels
Of Anaheim.
So the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, the longest name in the majors. This is going to be a little bit easier series, I think, and it should turn out a little bit different than this last 2-game skid.
Yeah, I can't argue that, man. I mean, we're facing a much lesser bullpen. Hopefully some of these guys that we're going to be talking about a little bit later, hopefully they're worn out from their last start. But yeah, much easier than the Dodgers for sure. You had kind of capped on the situation that happened with the Dodgers last time. Hopefully that gets swept under the rug and we can kind of move forward, because I've told you, man, if this turns into an Astros hit parade, hit fest, I don't really want any part of it, man. But yeah, hopefully we got an easier series coming up next.
Yeah, I don't think it's good. I don't think it's going to be good for the game if it just keeps dragging on the way it did with the Dodgers. You know, the fans just kept egging it on, and I can see it keep happening. I don't think the Angels will be involved with it, but going into this series, man, let's just go into game one. The Astros are coming in after, honestly, a very impressive pitching staff performance both games. Offense was awful. And we're coming in, we got Lance Mccullers Jr. with his second start of the season. He had an incredible first start, but I think he can improve even more. He in 5 starts in Anaheim, he has a 3.18 ERA, but he hasn't gotten his first career win there yet. I think he's got a bunch of no decisions.
Yeah, a bunch of no decisions, but overall, man, to start the year off 1-0, 3 ERA, 6 Ks. Like we had said before, man, he looked really good in his first start against Seattle. So hopefully it moves on to Anaheim.
Yeah, so for him, I think the biggest key, he had a good start, but the biggest key for him is just breaking ball command. I think if he can figure that out, that 3 ERA, which is extremely respectable right now, will drop. I think he could cut it in half if he can command his breaking ball. Fastball looked fantastic. Changeup was probably his best pitch in his last start. So the command of that breaking ball is major key. And let's move on to the lineup. We got George Springer playing center field, batting leadoff. Jose Altuve, batting 2-hole, playing second base as always. Alex Bregman, 3-hole, third base. Probably one of the hottest hitters in Major League Baseball and in the Astros lineup. Michael Brantley is DHing in the 4-hole. Yuli Gurriel playing first base in the 5-hole. And I know I just said Brantley's one of the hottest hitters, but Carlos Crea is even hotter, batting 6-hole, playing shortstop. Lefty Josh Reddick, right field, batting 7th. Kyle Tucker, he's had some struggles recently, but he'll be in left field, batting 8th, and Martin Maldonado, our favorite catcher, batting 9th. This lineup is good enough, and they didn't perform well the last 2 days. They're not performing the way they should. Springer's cold, Jose Altuve's cold, Bregman's cold, but has had some productive at bats. What do you think about this lineup coming into this series?
I feel good with it. I don't think our offense has been too big of a deal. Obviously, we got shut out. I know I saw a stat where I think it was Altuve, Springer, and was it Bregman maybe that went 0 for 21 in that 3-game series?
Yeah.
That's never good, obviously, but I always feel good having George up there at top. He just needs to get things going, man. I'm not too concerned for the most part. I'm not concerned about Jose Altuve either hitting under 200. I mean, he's a guy that I started off kind of rough last season too and picked it up towards the end of the year. Not concerned. I still think we have one of the better lineups in baseball. We're just going through a little slump right now. It happens.
Yeah. And Yordan's not back. We keep saying this every time we do a preview. He should be back within the next couple of weeks. I think he's been taking some live ABs, so that's going to get him on the right track. But George Springer is the key to getting this Astros lineup kickstarted. And I want to shout out one of my buddies, Grayson Squires. He wrote an article on George Springer and his struggles this season, and he figured out that Springer has made a slight adjustment in his swing. Not the mechanics of the swing, but mainly how he sets up his stance is a little bit more sunken down, and I think the goal was to get to the ball quicker and get to his proper mechanics quicker. But what it's done has changed his timing. So now his foot is getting down later. He's not able to square up fastballs. He's getting beat by fastballs. He's been able to hit breaking balls well because his timing fits that pitch. But last year and the previous years, his foot, you can watch videos of it. He gets his foot down early and he's able to react to breaking balls and be on time for fastballs. So I think if he can figure that out, which I'm sure they're already ahead of the game with his swing, then he'll be back in no time.
Yeah, don't think that just because he sat at a game that Springer's done and it's over. He's still the George Springer, man. He's still going to put up the numbers. Just give him some time, like you said. A little bit of mishap in his mechanics, but get that back on track. Get him back to being the leadoff hitter that he should be, and I think we'll be fine. Hopefully we'll be fine. I think Anaheim, like you said, has been struggling in the bullpen department.
Yeah.
Otani's looking like he's a little bit hurt, throwing a lot slower in his last start than his normal high 90s velocity. But, yeah, I think he's going to be fine. I mean, the Dodgers bullpen was a big test for us. I mean, they were exceptional. I can give them that. Not a Dodgers fan. Can't stand the Dodgers, but they had a good-looking bullpen.
Was nasty.
Very good
so
bullpen.
Before we move on to game 2, you just talked about it. Let's talk about the Angels side of this game 1. Matt Andriese is going, right-handed pitcher. He hasn't had to start this year. He's been the reliever, but he's thrown some scoreless innings. He's got 5 Ks, and he's a guy who he's not a dangerous arm, but he's somebody who could probably get the job done. Against the Astros, he hasn't been as successful. He's given up a ton of hits, honestly. Jose Altuve is batting .667 and 9 ABs. Bregman's batting .333 and 3 ABs. Carlos Correa is batting .500, 6 ABs. Yuli, .667, 3 ABs. George Springer, .250 and 4 ABs. The only guy he's had success against, honestly, is Josh Reddick. 7 at-bats against him. So that's something to look out for, is the fact that this Astros lineman has been so successful against Andriese. This game could probably turn around. The lineup for the Angels, though, is a little bit different. You see, they're missing somebody in that lineup, somebody huge. Mike Trout. He is on paternity list. He's having his first child.
His first child, yep.
First child. So congrats to him, but thank you for the timing. So we can move on with this lineup. David Fletcher's leading it off, batting at shortstop. He's batting .370 on the year. This guy's got a good bat. Brian Goodwin, right field, young guy playing batting second. Anthony Rendon, somebody I wish didn't come to the Angels. He hasn't been successful this year, but he's probably one of the best hitters in the bigs. Playing third, batting third. Shohei Ohtani-san, DH. He's been mashing the ball so far. I mean, he's batting .174, but his last 2 games he has barreled everything up. Justin Upton, who actually has really good career stats against Lance McCullers, playing left field, batting 5th. That's a guy you want to keep your eye on, especially with this matchup. Tommy La Stella playing first. He can play anywhere in the infield, batting 6th. Luis Rengifo, I believe he was almost traded to the Dodgers in that Jock Peterson trade that kind of fell through. He's playing second, batting 7th. Former Astro, gotta love him. Jason Castro, catcher, batting 8th. And then Michael Hermosillo,
yep.
Playing center field, batting 9th. So this lineup isn't super stacked right now without Mike Trout, but they still have the guys to do some damage, especially in the middle of the order.
Yeah, definitely wouldn't say they're super stacked, but listen, don't let it fool you not having Mike Trout in the lineup. I mean, like you said, Fletcher is a consistent bat. Brian Goodwin's having an extremely hot start to the season. Rendon just got to the team, still shaking some rust off.
You don't want him to get hot in this series.
You do not want him getting hot. He started off his season with a home run, looked pretty good. Ohtani, like you said, 2 homers, 7 RBIs in the shortened season so far. And then Justin Upton, man, 2 homers, 4 RBIs. Listen, they're all hitting under 200, but like you said, got to knock the rust off still. Justin Upton actually, I believe, hit his 300th career home run a couple of days ago, which shows you how much of a journeyman he is. But yeah, don't get fooled just because Trout's not in the lineup. This is still a offense that can do damage if they have to. I think for them, obviously, is the pitching is going to be the weak spot for them. I think we might take advantage of that and, just really go from there.
Their bullpens, I believe, based on stats from Fangraphs, they're towards the bottom. They're 25th out of 30 teams in bullpen statistics. So they're not looking too good with the bullpen. So they're going to kind of ride their starters out. And one guy I hope we see is Albert Pujols. I don't care who he plays for. He's a guy, even though when he was beaten up on the Astros when he was on the Cardinals, I still love watching him play. So I hope we get to see him in the lineup soon.
Yeah, man, it's like it's seeing a legend right in front of us, man. You can't ever go wrong. You can't ever go wrong seeing Trout or even Ohtani or any of those guys. This is an interesting team they have together. They got some studs, but I think we're better. I think we're better, and I think it's going to show.
I do think this matchup works really well. So going into game 2, you're going to take over for game 2. Do you see in game 3? Do you see Mike Trout being back any of those games, or you think he's going to be out for this series?
I see him probably being out for the series. I mean,
okay,
spend a couple of days at home with the wife and new kid. I don't really see him playing the series, but going into the game 2, I'd say it's going to be a Greinke Ohtani game. We kind of had a mix up between Ohtani and Griffin Canning.
Yes,
two guys.
We don't really have an official announcement yet, right? It's TBD for both sides. We know probably on our side, we probably know a little bit more of what we'll see for the Astros.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to make a determination of what the second game's going to be like, I think it's going to be Greinke and Ohtani. If you look at Ohtani's last outing, did not do well on the season.
No.
0-1, no innings pitched, didn't even get out of the first inning, didn't even record an out. 3 hits given up, 5 earns, 3 walks. I mean, he just didn't look like the same guy. I mean, like we said, velo was down, wasn't commanding the zone as well as we're used to seeing him do. But we had said this. He had this problem his rookie season, which was 2018. So 2018 had the same problem. Kind of was a slow starter. Listen, he's coming off injury. Maybe he's still in the mode of knocking rust off, but this is not looking like the Ohtani that we are used to seeing. And if he's throwing in the low 90s, this might be dangerous for the Houston lineup. He's going up against Zach Greinke. Greinke did all right. I mean, I'm not going to say
best.
Yeah, it wasn't his best. I'm not.
But he's a vet. He's a vet.
He's a vet. He's going to pull things out. He's going to be a big game pitcher. He's done it for such a long time. We look into the third game. I think it's going to be a Josh James, Griffin Canning type of situation. If it's not Griffin or Ohtani, you can just kind of switch the two up. But yeah, looking forward to a nice Astros series right here.
Yeah. So going back to Ohtani, I
actually was
pulling more dangerous as a pitcher or a hitter. Right now, he's more dangerous as a hitter.
I think he's more dangerous altogether as a hitter. I actually had some problems just now. I had Greinke's stats pulled up, and my computer wanted to freeze on me, so I don't really know his stats at the moment. But yeah, going back to Ohtani, man, definitely more of a hitter in my opinion. If he doesn't have that high fastball velocity, I see him being more of a threat at the plate for sure.
Yeah, that'll be a problem if he comes into a start versus the Astros and he's pumping 95 plus like he was previous years. That could set us straight a little bit. But I think for the most part, really it was the goal for the Dodgers, and the Astros did a good job. We said they need to get the starters out early and get to the bullpen. But we didn't realize that the Dodgers bullpen is damn good. And I think I'm gonna make this prediction is not bold because I just don't think I did enough research on the Dodgers bullpen. The Angels bullpen is nothing like the Dodgers bullpen. It is a bullpen that you can beat.
Absolutely, for sure. I guess when we go back to some of these games, game 1 starts today, 9:10 p.m. Eastern time. Game 2 at 7:07, and then game 3 will be at 4:10. Turner, man, what is a player to look for coming into this series?
Well, I mentioned it to you before we started recording, and I think I got another guy in mind too. But I'm going to say Crea. I think he's starting to heat up, man. He is starting to hit balls really well. He was hitting balls well in the first series against the Mariners. It just wasn't. He had good stats. He had good results, but a lot of his outs were still barreled. So I think he finally figured it out. Hopefully he's fired up after that Joe Kelly incident, and he can use that to his advantage. Another guy to look out for, man, I would say Blake Taylor. He's
absolutely
incredible out of the bullpen.
Absolutely,
I think he's a game changer for the bullpen.
Dude, our only lefty arm, he's been getting the job done. I mean, listen, LA, you didn't beat the Houston Astros, right? You beat a minor league system. I mean, that's just the truth of it.
And even those, I mentioned it in the previous podcast, there was one crooked number in that first game, and that's all the Dodgers had to show for that game. They didn't have the offensive production, just like the Astros didn't have the offensive production. They just timed it up well.
Yeah, just let things worked out for them when it needed to, for sure. But yeah, like we said, look out for Crea. Look out for those guys. On the Angels side, I'm going to give it to Brian Goodwin. Like I said, he's been at a hot start lately, or to start off the season. Got to look out for him as well.
I'm also going to say, where is he at? Hansel Robles. I think let me pull up his stats right now because I know he had an incredible season last year. I don't know what he's been doing so far this year. As like you, my internet's being a little bit slow.
I'm having internet problems in general right now. Yeah.
He's got a 20 ERA right now in 2.2 innings. Not the same guy you saw last year when he had a 2.48 ERA with 23 saves. So I think he's a key for the Angels.
Mm-hmm.
If they somehow hold the Astros to within a lead, or they have the lead, whatever it is, if he cannot be productive out of the pen, they're going to struggle. I think Joe Madden just called a meeting with, who did he call a meeting with? Pitching coach and catching coach, I believe, for the Angels, and said they got to figure something out in the bullpen. That's big. A bullpen's big, and we thought the Astros bullpen was weak, but so far it's been actually pretty good.
Very good. ERA under 2 with all these rookies we got.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting. I think I wouldn't say exciting, but it's refreshing. It's nice to know that these guys are stepping up in these situations. We don't have to wait for a guy like Osuna in the last inning. We don't feel burdened because we don't have Joe Smith. I'd love to get your Urquidy back. Obviously, we talk about it every time we're on here.
Is throwing flat grounds, I think. So he's on his way back. We don't know about JV yet. I'm not banking on JV being back anytime soon.
No, I would say he's going to be out for a little bit of time.
So off on the subject of who to look for. I mean, what you got a sweep right here? You think we got a 3-game sweep?
If not a sweep, I say 2-1 us. I think Mccullers is having a great game today. I see Greinke doing pretty well against Ohtani or Canning, whoever it's going to be. But if not a sweep, a good 2-1 series. We just need to get back in the win column, shake off this Dodgers loss, and get back to playing good Astros baseball.
I think the only game in concern right now is Game 3. We just don't. Is Josh James going to go? Is he going to be better than he was before? And then we don't even know who's going for the Angels yet. We have an idea, but I think that game is going to be a little bit different than obviously seeing McCullers and Greinke go for the Astros. So that could be the only game that concerns me. But really, dude, we've said this every single time. Is if this offense can just produce, we're fine.
We're fine.
Bullpen doesn't have to be fantastic, and it already has been fantastic. So just the offense needs to be better.
It's really just the key guys for us, like you said, Springer, Altuve. These guys just need to. It's just a matter of waking up. I'm not concerned, like I've said, with any of their performances. It's just about waking up and clicking at the right time.
Yeah, they can't go into this very, very long schedule in August. 9 games in a row, a break, and then 17 games in a row. They can't be struggling during that time. We're gonna have to have some production from those guys, or there could be a deep skid. So, moving on. I mean, I'm excited to watch this series. I'm ready to see a comeback. Honestly,
yeah.
We need to turn around. I think we'll be okay, and tune into that 8-10 game, man.
Yes, sir.
Like always, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Follow us on Twitter at OTS Baseball. We are always on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. So be on the lookout for our series recap coming up Sunday or Monday, and then we'll do another preview for the next series. Thanks for tuning in.